Thank you very much for being so patient as it takes us weeks to upload our next episode. We really underestimated how much time we would have with our full-time jobs and children and dogs and trying to keep the boat in tip-top shape. So thank you for bearing with us, and we hope you enjoy this next episode.
Sometimes I think about the good days we had, but there were bad days too.
I'm Nicole.
And I'm Paul.
And with our motley crew of numerous children from our blended family, we sail around the Mediterranean on Savvy of London, our EP14 sailing yacht. Please tick that subscribe button. We're just getting ready to leave this anchorage now, and Paul is touching the main halyard in preparation. We've just packed away the main cover, and yeah, we're setting sail. We're going up to the, I can't pronounce it, Egadi Islands, which are just west of Sicily.
Hey,
Hey, did you fix it for them?
fixed it.
What was wrong?
Just a bit of air in the fuel, so I just shoved something in the carburetor that would make it fire really well.
And Paul
it fired
saved the day.
probably for the second or third time. Yeah, so they've now got an engine that works,
That's
and they're very appreciative. They offered us a drink. They said that it's very kind of you, but we're off soon, so we're good.
What are you fixing this time, Paul?
I am fixing the shore power. So what happened was we were upgrading. There were some kind of software glitches with some of the Victron stuff that hadn't been updated in a while, so we updated the system, and when the system updated, it didn't stop, or it didn't limit the amps coming into the boat. So the boat can take 32 amps tops coming in. I set it at lower than that, and we refreshed the software and it set it at, I think, 100 and something. Anyway, what it meant was it was drawing about 75 amps from the shore, and the outcome of that was this thing kind of got burnt and melted. So I'm replacing this thing with a new one, and schoolboy error, make sure that the settings were the same after an upgrade as before an upgrade. Won't be doing that again.
You finished?
Have a look at this. I mean, ex-yachts, you build a great boat, but I think I may have just installed this better than you installed this one. This one was a different design to this one, but they all fit in the same holes. This has a 50 amp, it's a 32 amp connection.
With all the jobs finally finished, we set off. But first of all, we needed to refuel, so we pulled into St. Lawrence. And there we saw not one but two beautiful boats that had been burnt out. It's a bit of a reminder at how quickly hopes and dreams can quite literally go up in smoke. And we weren't taking any chances, so we double checked the depth as we pulled into the fuel berth to refuel.
I have 10 bottles, 48 euro. 10 bottles.
10
48.
bottles is too much. We have no space on the board.
You want 6, 3 and 3?
You want 6?
28.
You're the boss.
28. And you have honey as well?
Yes.
Okay, can I see the honey?
Yes.
I'll have 3 and 3. I'm going to go get some more money.
You did well negotiating. Okay. He's coming.
Honey's coming, so he said that's 28.
Yes, honey. This bag in Shoki also, huh?
From
I meant
local.
foreign, this for local honey, huh?
Okay,
Yes.
Okay. We'll
That's
try it on the
14
kids.
each.
14 each.
Yes.
Okay. Well, honey's
I can that's a price.
okay, so how much for everything?
28 56, please. Did you get us a discount?
Yeah, what I should have said is 50 for every ticket. Okay. Thank you, you too.
Better be good. We'll call you.
The wine we just bought is Spanish. I don't know why he's selling Spanish wine instead of Maltese wine, but anyway, there you go. It's quite funny. But the honey is from Gozo, I think. That's what he said anyway. So we'll see.
He really saw us coming. I think the wine was drinkable because we don't have it anymore. The honey, unfortunately, the children don't like it because it doesn't come in a squeezy container, so they have to get messy with a spoon to get it out. St. Lawrence was a beautiful town and we would have loved more time to spend there exploring, but for now we needed to head off to Sicily, and it was a stunning passage.
Don't play hard to get my temptation. Got to have you now. I ain't waiting for long, girl, for long, girl. I need to let you know that I want.
What are you doing?
Working on the freezer again because it's got silly filter.
So the freezer's still not working.
Well, it is. It's just not working as well as it should because there's a filter where there shouldn't be a filter. I'm not sure whose idea it was to put it there. I don't think it was very good.
Is it fixable?
Yeah, very fixable. Very fixable indeed.
What's happened down there, Paul?
Oh, well, we decided to go sailing and we didn't close the seacock. So what happens is the water siphons back up from the sea into the boat, and it basically, until it gets to the shower sump pump, it floods, which is all good, but for the water maker not liking it very much. So schoolboy error number one. That must be about the 7th or 8th time I've done that, and the reason is it always gets forgotten when we leave. Close seacocks.
Whoops, I think that was my fault. That's one of my jobs that I have when we set sail. Okay, I'll try to remember next time. But it really was a beautiful sail.
That was close.
Ready about? Ready about?
What do you mean by sailing close to the wind?
So at the moment we are close hauled. So when the wind's coming towards you, you can't really sail a boat into it without energy. But what's clever about modern boats is, even when the wind's coming towards you, you might be able to sail at this angle, so that the wind comes into the sails and pushes the boat over, but creates forward movement. So at the moment, close hauled is we've got the sails in as tight as we can get them, and we're sailing at between 6.5 and 7.5 knots, but we couldn't go any closer to the wind. So here's the wind, we can't get any closer. If we go closer, we just slow down. About 30 degrees is when you start to sail, unless it's really light airs. Here we've got quite a bit of wind, we've got 25 knots of wind. We're quite close to the wind, we're close hauled because we're trying to make an island, so we're trying to make a point. As you come away, you've then got a close reach here, then you've got at 90 degrees, that's a reach or a beam reach, and then you've got a broad reach, then you've got a run, and any deeper than that, and then you're dead downwind. So I think most of our sailing's being done just on beam reach or a broad reach, but today we're close hauled. We're about as tight on the wind as we can get, and we've got 25 knots, so that's why the boat's heeled over, and she's behaving very well actually.
And so so you've got the head sail out at the moment as well as the main.
Yep, we do.
What are the other sails? There's the spinnaker, and what they're all for being dead downwind, right?
So other sails, not so close to the wind. So from a close reach and all the way around to a run, we could use the code sail. That's just the see-through carbon fibre weave sail. That's a really great sail, very versatile and very powerful. It's much bigger than this one. And then if you're beyond the beam reach and you've got light winds, that's when we use an asymmetric spinnaker. We don't have a spinnaker on board because I'm always short-handed and they're hard work for one person. So we have an asymmetric spinnaker, which is a big white one. I can't remember how big it is, big. We've had lots of fun with that sail. The boat goes beautifully with it. But you have to be careful because if the wind goes above about 16 knots, it's too much wind for the sail, it's too powerful.
And what's the difference between a normal spinnaker and an asymmetric spinnaker?
Kind of how it sounds. A normal spinnaker is symmetrical, it comes down in a shape like this roughly. An asymmetric spinnaker has a tack line at the front and centre of the boat. So normal spinnaker has a line out either side of the boat and at the top, and it can move around, whereas an asymmetric spinnaker tacks to the same place just in front of where the jib goes. So it's got an asymmetric shape, and when you jibe it, when you change sides, it has to go all the way around and flop round. Very interesting manoeuvre, and not to be done in heavy winds on your own, as I've tried a few times, and it occasionally goes a little bit messy.
But it's just easier to manage than the symmetrical or the normal
you've only
spinnaker.
got, with a symmetrical spinnaker, asymmetric spinnaker, you've only really got 3 lines to worry about. You've got the sheet, which is what you're used to, this one, the jib. You've got the tack line, which pulls the foot of the tack of the sail down right at the front. Actually, they're really the only 2. That and a tweaker line that changes the sheeting angle of the sail, which all matters.
We were very close to our destination at Favignana when we saw this helicopter flying very close to water and then a smoke flare. We thought we'd drop the sails and see if there's anything we could do to help.
Right, okay, there's definitely smoke coming out of the water.
Okay. So you're gonna drop the sail and go over and see what we can do.
Yeah,
We're the first boats here, right?
there's no one else around.
Yeah, definitely smoke on the water over there.
Savvy, Yacht Savvy, calling the naval helicopter. You receive me, over.
Okay.
Oh well, whatever it is, the boat's not responding.
Yeah. You'd think that they'd be monitoring channel 16 if they're in marine environment. Obviously they're not. Well, I hope everyone's alright.
In hindsight, it must have been some sort of training exercise, and fortunately not a yacht in distress. So we continued on our way to the island of Favignana. Here we are in tonight's anchorage on Favignana. How do I say it?
Favignana.
There you go, you're not much better than me at it. Favignana. Favignana, however you say it. Anyway, it's a very pretty anchorage. Just around the corner is a whole lot of mooring buoys, but we are anchoring because we bought a permit, and we hope that the permit is to anchor all over the island.
There's nobody else here.
We ended up having the anchorage all to ourselves that evening, apart from a little fishing boat that also visited us again in the morning. This bay was one of the most beautiful that we've ever been fortunate enough to stay in. Just so natural and naturistic, exactly how you want things to be when you're on a boat. Favignana is the biggest of the Egadi archipelago, and it's located about 7 kilometers or 4 miles off the west coast of Sicily, between Trapani and Marsala. The name Favignana is derived from the Latin word favinus. I'm really mispronouncing that. A Latin term used by Romans to indicate the hot wind coming in from the west. The easy access from Sicily hasn't yet spoiled the island, which is fairly low-key and visited by many holiday makers from Italy. Although there are tourist amenities, the island's character seems little altered, and travellers who come here are happy to fit in with the leisurely island way of life. One of the charms of all the Egadi Islands is that they've never been populated with the villas of the rich nor frequented by the showy, and no out-of-character attractions have been developed for tourists. So compared with the crowded tourist islands of Capri and Ischia, and the chic atmosphere of some of the Aeolian Islands, Favignana and its Egadi siblings have a refreshingly simple authenticity. The island's shape is often compared to a butterfly. It's composed of 2 flat stretches of land on either side of a rocky spine and topped by a decaying fortress. Ferries arrive at Favignana town, which is the only substantial settlement on the island. And this town is situated on the eastern side of the island, which is connected to the western side by a road tunnel through the hill, which divides the 2 plains. Formerly, the main source of subsistence and income for the inhabitants of Favignana was fishing, especially tuna, which was fished using the traditional mezzana method, which is a very cruel kind of fishing that fortunately has no longer been practiced since 2007. It involves using hooks to hook up a tuna onto a boat. Today, the wealth of Favignana is represented by tourism. It is well worth a visit. Join us as we set sail once again and continue our exploration of the Egadi Islands. Islands that we hadn't even heard of before we decided to visit them. Hopefully this next episode won't take weeks to produce. Thank you for joining on our journey.